All right, example one, we are going to estimate a population parameter. Just to remember, or just a reminder, we saw the vocab word parameter in our first lesson. That's a measure that will describe a population. A statistic is a measure that will describe a sample of the larger population. So we are looking to estimate a measure that will describe the population. All right, so we've got Seth. Seth selects a random sample of students from a local college. He asks the students their year in college and how far the college is from their home in miles. How can Seth's sample estimate the proportion of freshmen in the population? How accurate is the estimate likely to be? So what we have is Seth's sample statistics right here. This is from his sample. So let's make a note that we can use sample statistics such as proportion or mean to estimate the corresponding population parameters. So what that means is that we can use the proportion of freshmen in the sample to estimate the proportion of freshmen in the entire population. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to find the proportion of freshmen in the sample. So we're going to find the ratio of freshman students in the population will be equal to, so remember we're going to use our sample statistics to find the ratio of freshman students in a population. So we're going to take the number of freshmen in the sample and divide it by the total number of participants in the sample. Okay, so if we take a look at Seth's sample study that he did, he talked to, this is, I believe, 20 different students. And he asked them, how far away do you live? How far away is your hometown? So if we just look through his data, we can see we have a freshman right there. And if we keep looking, we're trying to see how many freshmen do we have. There's another one. There's another freshman. Oh, here's another one. And that's it. So how many freshmen did he have in his sample? He had 4 freshmen. Out of how many total people did he survey in his sample? This is a total of 20 people. So 4 over 20 reduces to 1/5, or we could say a 0.20. So what we're finding is that Seth had about 20% of his sample were freshmen. So we can use that to estimate that about 20% of the population are freshmen. So that answers the first question, how can Seth's sample estimate the proportion of freshmen in the population? But here's the question, how accurate is this estimate likely to be? So we have just a couple notes to write down about how accurate this might be. All right, so the accuracy of this estimate depends on the number of participants in the sample and also how well the sample represents the population. So we might ask Seth about what kind of sampling did you do? Was it biased? Was it random? You know, we learned about different types of sampling you can do. So this sample that he has may or may not be representative, and that will inform, well, maybe this is an accurate or not so accurate statistic to estimate the population parameter. And then one more note we want to make. Larger samples will usually provide more accurate estimates, so we always want to keep that in mind. Okay, last final thought on this example. What did we just do? We used statistics from a sample. That's what this is. This is our number of freshmen in the sample divided by the number of participants in the sample. And we're using that to estimate a population parameter. We're saying, well, if we had 20% of freshmen in our sample, we can estimate we would have 20% of freshmen in the population. And then we just want to keep in mind these two key points down here.